Hey, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Bashem Rakal Kodash. Double honors to my apostles and elders of great millstone who rule well. Peace and salutation to the hopeful elect out here pushing this truth and sincerity. The water foot y'all do. We love you. We appreciate you through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and Shalom. It's your brother Dawadai here. And basically, hey, look, man. I'm gonna title this video, "The Lies That the White People Tell." All right. It's a little, this is gonna, basically it's gonna expose these different lies. I'm gonna try to make a series out of it through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. However the spirit deems fit for me to do. And it's gonna expose the so-called white man even further, man, because they like to use these lies. Who is Esau, by the way? If you're watching this now, the so-called white man, his name is Esau, Edom in the Bible. All right, he was Esau, and then his name was changed to Edom, where Edom goes back to where Adawam, the Hebrew word, which means red. All right, because they're not white, they are red. Now, if you're watching this now, you're so-called black, Native American, or Latino man or woman, you're a Hebrew Israelite according to the Holy Bible. All right, so fake ass, those fake Jews, they stole our heritage. All right, and you're not Latino, you're not Spanish. All right, those are the fake Europeans, the so-called white people that capture your people, put you in slavery, and renamed you Puerto Rican and Mexican and gave you these different names, Native American Indian. Now, how is that your nationality? If that's what the so-called white man gave to you, how is that your nationality? All right, that's not in the Bible. You won't find that. All right, so all you people going to Catholic Church and Christian Church, I challenge you to find your nationality according to the Holy Bible, because and they'll say what the people of the Holy Bible aren't here anymore. What? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? No, so-called white man has hid those things from you. All right, so through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yashai, we have been able to track down our lineage using the scriptures. All right, so like I said, I'm trying to make a series out of this. This is one of the lies that they taught us. Without further ado, I'm gonna play it now. That further exposes so-called white man. All right, one of the lies that he told was that the Civil War was about freeing the black people, so-called black people in this country, because they wanted them to have equal rights, just like everybody else in this country. It's a damn lie.
When the war began, it was not over slavery. Slavery was one of the causes that led the South to secede, but then the war was fought over whether the states had the right to leave when they believed the Constitution was being violated.
Now, first of all, he said the war wasn't on slavery, and that's true. But then you see how he try to say that that's one of the things that caused. That's not one of the things that caused the war. All right, he said he just told you the truth when he said that they had a disagreement about the Union. All right, they wanted to keep the rights of the people. All right, wanted to keep the rights to the people of the Union. All right, and they didn't want to hand over all their rights to the government. Because part of those things that was happening was the government basically it was actually about certain land and money. All right, he's going to touch a little bit on that, but he's not going to go deep into it. You have to research that history on your own. It's about certain parts of land and money that was given to people, and free free slaves, basically. So basically the people wasn't they weren't happy with the way the money was being distributed for these certain parts of these the land. All right, so it's kind of like that's why you have like HR, human resources that's set up today. Talk about different compensation. You see things like that happening today with like the minimum wage. If people feel like they work too hard and the minimum wage isn't high enough, they can't support themselves, and they can't make a profit of having these. Basically, you got a dead end job. And what happens is people start getting riled up, and they'll say, "Yo, I'm not making enough money for these hard labor jobs," and they'll boost up the minimum wage nowadays. But before, what happened? Civil War, all hell broke loose. All right.
The Union must be preserved at all costs. At the beginning of the war, most of the Union soldiers were fighting for
And Slovakia, but you see that today with the Union. All right, the Union, it's the same thing. The Union, they try to fight for people's right to make a certain amount of money. When you're in a union, people say that you're well off, man. When you're in a union, they take care of you. You know what I'm saying? You start making more money. You like guaranteed like all these different jobs and whatnot. Because a union, what it does is it gives a mouthpiece for the people in the workforce, people who are in a labor force, and that's what was happening back then. These people, the union was just like the union does today. The people they're fighting against the government. They're the ones talking about what rules and what rules should be applied when it comes to certain jobs, um and people's rights and whatnot. You know.
the Union, not to end slavery. But there was a section in
Right. You see, not to end slavery.
Congress called the Radical Republicans. They were critical of Lincoln and urged him to immediately free the slaves. They weren't nearly a majority of the Congress or a majority of the people. So Lincoln was able to say that the war was only for the preservation of the Union and had nothing to do with slavery. If the war had ended in the first 2 years, slavery would not have been destroyed.
Right.
This actually
See? So that you see, like the war was already going on. All right, the war was already going on for 2 years. And Slovakia, let me see.
just happened in 1862 of the Union and had nothing to do with slavery. If the war had ended in the first 2 years, slavery would not have been destroyed.
Okay, so yeah, so you hear what he's saying. All the things that they were fighting about was the things that I mentioned a couple minutes ago. All right, Slovakia, and what they did was they added that to the list of things that were to be established depending on what side was victorious. All right, and they were like, no, we want the slaves free. Now the reason why they freed the slaves was because they wanted to make profit and money off of everybody. All right, if you have all these slaves, all right, then the government, they can't make money off of both so-called white man, which they do today, white man and woman, and the so-called black man and woman. It would just be in the certain individuals keeping whatever is money they earned from off of their slave plantations. All right, but they didn't want that. They wanted the not just us in slavery, but the middle class in slavery. That's why today you see the middle class is the majority, and they're the ones who feel the brunt force, the brute force of the taxes. They get the worst, basically the worst end of the straw. What do you call it? Say the worst end of the stick, or whatever it is. They get the basically like the elites live well off, and the poor, they basically don't give a fuck. But the middle class is the backbone of America. All right, now if the middle class is the backbone of America, that means the middle class carry all the weight. So they're carrying all the weight of the country. That's why, who is it that complains about welfare babies and women on welfare, and so-called black man on welfare, black man and woman and Mexican on welfare, and takes food stamps and stuff like that. Even though the majority is their people, but that's because that just goes into further hatred that they have for the so-called black, Latino, and Native American man and woman. All right, even though their people are the majority on welfare, they point fingers at us, at our people. And they say, well, you got all these, people, I'm taking care of them, I'm taking care of this and that. So they complain the most because you know why? It's a lot of pressure on the middle class. It's a lot of weight to be carried. All right, it's the middle class, so they keep up the America on its feet. If it wasn't for the middle class, then America wouldn't have a leg to stand on. Now that means that the middle class is like I said, the backbone. So that further proves what I was talking about as far as the middle class is slavery. They want to enslave not only so-called black man and woman, but they also wanted to enslave you middle class people. All right, everybody else, the elites wanted everybody under their rulership. All right, now you have to do that in a subtle way, or it'll be all hell will break loose, like the Civil War. All right, if you don't have control of the population. If you don't make people think that they're not slaves, then they're gonna revolt against you. So you have to make them believe that they're not slaves. All right, and that's the majority, and that's the middle class. The middle class is they're slaves, man. You know what I'm saying? They work all these fucking hard ass hours. All right, 12 to 15 hours a day, some 7 days a week, a lot 7 days a week. All right, and they get all this money taken out of their taxes, all right, and don't even get a big portion of that back around come time tax season, all right, when you get your tax returns. And it was just found out that President Trump, he was talking about how he was gonna make sure taxes got uh reduced, but all these people that voted for Trump, they had to actually pay more taxes than they have ever their whole life. Some of them, they used to get tax a big lump sum of tax returns, their money back, and guess what? They end up owing this year. All right, and you can look that up. Just put that into your search engine, and you'll be able to see videos made about how people are pissed off at Donald Trump because he didn't come follow through with his word. All right, so yeah, that's what this thing is about.
This actually almost happened in 1862 before Robert E. Lee took over command of the Army of Northern Virginia. Lincoln had always been against slavery, but as president, he didn't immediately free the Southern slaves, and even overturned attempts of generals to free the slaves in the regions under their control, as both John C. Fremont and David Hunter had attempted. In both cases, Lincoln overturned their attempts to start emancipation. He didn't do this because he was in favor of slavery. He did it because the Northern people would not have rallied around a call to fight against slavery, and because he didn't really have the constitutional authority to do it. He wrote after the emancipation on April 4th, 1864.
I am naturally anti-slavery. If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong. I cannot remember when I did not so think and feel. And yet I have never understood that the presidency conferred upon me an unrestricted right to act officially upon this judgment and feeling. It was in the oath I took that I would, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. I could not take the office without taking the oath. Nor was it my view that I might take an oath to get power and break the oath using the power. I had publicly declared this many times and in many ways. When, early in the war, General Fremont attempted military emancipation, I forbade it, because I did not then think it an indispensable necessity.
Actually, you know what? I'll let this play a little bit more because he's going to say it right here.
And a little later, General Cameron, then Secretary of War, suggested the arming of the blacks. I object.
See? Now, really, really, the reasons why they wanted to free the slaves is so that they can get the slaves to fight for them. Because if you say, because there was a deal that was made, because if you say, all right, you slaves are going to come fight in our war now, and you give them guns, now what's going to happen? They're going to turn against y'all motherfuckers. They're going to use those guns on you. So you got to dumb down the minds. You got to turn their mind into mush. You got to make them believe that they're not slaves no more. So when they so-called let them, because they knew they weren't going to win the war without the so-called blacks, right? So they let them join the army and armed them so they can help fight against them so they can help fight against the enemy and win. You know what I'm saying? So the reason why they wanted so-called black people to be freed is so that they can help in the war. It was not the freedom. You notice how he said he shut them down on 3 different occasions, man. So no, it was not about freeing the slaves, man. How do you turn down? How does the man who they claimed freed the slaves, President Lincoln, turn down 3 times when it was brought to his attention? Yo, we got to free the slaves for this, free the slaves for that, and he turned them down 3 times. But yet this man is responsible for freeing the slaves. No, he was in power during that time. All right, he was in the presidential seat during that time. That's why they say, oh well, it was this man that freed the slaves. Really, it was him, because he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. But only because he knew it would benefit them, man. Not because you hear him say that, oh, I know that slavery is wrong. That's bullshit. Those are those smoother than butter that's that smoother than butter scripture, man. All right. I believe it's Isaiah. Salakia. 55, right? No, Salakia. 21. Isaiah. Damn. And you know it's crazy too, because I know the scripture and I keep on forgetting it. Yeah, Isaiah. Oh, Psalms 55 and 21. It says the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. And that's because, yo, man, you can't believe a damn word a so-called white man says, man. All right, when he says he freed the slaves because they thought that free slavery was wrong. Oh yeah, you might as well just think the complete total opposite, man. All right, if they say that we freed the slaves because slavery is bad, think that they freed the slaves because they have another agenda. All right, which the agenda was to make everybody a damn slave, man. All right, that's why we work as hard as we work and we don't get anything in return. You gotta have a full-time job, two part-time jobs, and a side hustle, and own your own business on this in order to make it in this damn society, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have a full-time job, a part-time job, and you gotta be doing Uber too if you want to make it here, man. You know, everybody's a damn slave, but you know what? Make people think that they're not slaves, and they won't fight against you. They won't revolt. There'll be no civil war. All right. Make these black niggas, make these niggers believe that they're not slaves anymore, and they'll fight in our war. That's why they freed the slaves, because you heard them say, all right, we gotta free the slaves to and arm them. He was like, I ain't arming no damn niggers. You know what I'm saying? Once they knew that they wasn't gonna you know, the only time they would figure out are we gonna free them is when they thought that they can gain something from it. And that's it, man. I'll continue this and that's it.
Rejected because I did not yet think it an indispensable necessity. When, still later, General Hunter attempted military emancipation, I again forbade it.
See? A military, it's about the military emancipation, not proclamation. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's military emancipation. They wanted these niggas to fight. That's why they freed these slaves. Just like you think that they don't know how many so-called Mexicans that come into this country, they know, but they want all that cheap labor, man. So-called white man want them working on all the farms with the scorching heat, the construction and that scorching ass heat. They want in the kitchen, which is, oh my god, yo, the working in the kitchen is brutal, man. But they pay them minimum wage. All these different, when you go to these different McDonald's and all these different chain restaurants, who do you see, man? Issachar, all right, the so-called Mexican, man. They give them all the jobs that nobody wanted to do. So it's not about, you know what I'm saying, they letting Mexicans in here because, and I saw one video where a nigga said that shit. He might have been Jake, but he looked like a so-called white man. He was like, yo, man, if I didn't have, if Mexicans didn't come into this country, man, I wouldn't have, any, I wouldn't know how to, really run my business because he would have to pay Americans more money to work in his restaurant. You know what I'm saying? And he's paying those all so-called Mexicans minimum wage. That's how the so-called white man thinks, man. They think like that, man. You think that, man, they don't want them here unless they can gain something from them. You know what I'm saying? You hear them say that shit all the time. Oh, it's not like because they're Mexicans, because they're illegal. They're illegal. We'll take the ones that come in here and they want to help. Yeah, if you want to help, by all means come. You know what I'm saying? So they have to be You have to be giving them something in order for them to. What's up? You have to, But you can further watch this video, man. I'm gonna go see what's going on out here. Yeah, man. Hey, this is the beginning of what the lies the so-called white man tells, man. They didn't free us because and furthermore they freed us because Yahweh, it was in the spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai to have us be freed so that the prophecies can be fulfilled. All right. At the end of the day, it's all up to him. All right. I wanted to bring out like 2 more scriptures, but I gotta go. So with that being said, I'm gonna give all praise and glory and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahshai, Bashem Rachakadash, double honors to my apostles and elders, a great millstone who were well. Peace and citation to the hopeful elect, all here pushing the truth and sincerity, and shalom.